It seems as though you guys enjoyed my last video. So now, we're asking ourselves the question, which Battlefront is the best Battlefront? Let's begin. So, naturally, I had to ask a few of my buds first. Tom responded so quick, it almost felt like he was sitting there at his keyboard waiting for this question. You know, waiting for the inevitable, like his destiny was... It was meeting, you know, the planets were aligning. This man was sitting there, looking at his computer, waiting for this question. Yes, more Tom. More info. He's typing again. What's he gonna say? Oh, he stopped. No! Yes! Yes, okay, he's typing more, he's typing more. Okay, Battlefront 2, EA's Battlefront 2. I can agree with this. And of course we had to ask a couple other friends, and the overall consensus is that people either like the original Battlefront 2 or EA's Battlefront 2. I grew up with the older Battlefronts. They're better in my opinion, but I still really enjoy the new ones. Saying that, I played EA's Battlefront 2 a lot for this video. I actually ended up playing it more than I needed to, and I kept playing it. Oh man, I can just literally hear the sound effects of this loading screen as it zooms into the planet and loads into the game. I thought that was the greatest thing ever, but I can just hear the sound of it zooming in my sleep. Battlefront 2004 by LucasArts on their Zero graphics engine. The game that launched it all. Honestly, I really enjoyed this Battlefront, and I played a lot of it on the Steam version on PC, which still has online capabilities, so I was able to play with people co-op. Where's this guy taking me? Okay. Game offered standard customization, cannot change anything in each class, gun-wise, equipment-wise, which I kind of like. I like that each class has its own purpose. You can't just go in there and change all the weapons for each class. You know, you can't just be a sniper with a machine gun. That shouldn't be a thing. So I kind of like that. Nothing really else in this game, cosmetic-wise, that you can do. Vehicles, many of the vehicles in this game are fun to use, and for the most part, key components to winning a game. Vehicles, however, in my opinion, in this game alone, very overpowered, and sometimes I feel like I have to pilot them when playing solo, or I get wiped out, which means I cannot have faith in my bot team to win the game without me getting a new vehicle and just wiping out the other team. I literally cannot do it all. I cannot kill people fast enough, or I end up at the end of the game just me versus like 50 bots because my whole team got wiped out. It really has some interesting maps like Kashyyyk Docks, Bespin platforms, Naboo plains, where you can actually fight with the Gungans and their shield generators on. Probably one of my favorite maps to play on. All the maps have really good flow in my opinion, and they're open, and they make me feel like you're in this world. They make you feel like you're in this world. You're not constrained to a small map. They do a really good job with this game, making it feel like it's a big world, big open world, big galaxy. You're going across different maps that it's distinguishable from the others. Segues me into game modes. This game had a great conquest mode. Really, it's hard to beat when I'm looking at the other conquest modes across all the other Battlefronts. I can usually find 6 players up to 12 players on the weekends playing this game on Steam, by the way, playing Conquest mode, so there's another reason why you should get this game on Steam and try it out. The game also had a couple other game modes that I didn't really play a lot of. There was Hunt, there was Capture the Flag, Space Assault, I actually played that a lot, and then there was no Heroes vs. Villains or Starfighter mode, which was no big deal at the time. Alright, getting into the meat, the steak. Get into Battlefront 2 now on LucasArts' now upgraded Zero game engine. The 2005 Battlefront 2 release came after the highly successful Star Wars Battlefront, which came out and offered us Jedi characters that are playable, 2 new unit classes, space battles, and story-based campaigns, along with a highly upgraded galactic conquest. Each faction has their own unique units now in this game. Just to name off a few, the Jet Trooper for the Republic, Destroyer Droid for the CIS, Wookiee Warrior for the Rebel Alliance, and the Dark Trooper for the Empire. To name off some of the meat in this game, Heroes vs. Villains came to us online. And let me tell you, I remember all the good times on my PlayStation 2, waking up early at the rise of the sun, you know, going to Mos Eisley and sitting on the corner of the map with Boba Fett up in the sky on the map glitch. I totally didn't do that, but...
Wrong way! Error! Error!
Campaign-wise, the 501st campaign missions were my favorite. The 501st are actually my all-time favorite in the Star Wars franchise. I love the clones. The 501st was always my favorite. I think they looked the coolest.
For all of us, wasn't it? All that breeding, all those years of training. It doesn't really prepare you for all the screaming or the blood, does it?
And then came Galactic Conquest, which probably, if you watch my last video, Galactic Conquest is actually one of our top game modes in that video. Go watch the video if you want to find out which actually is the top game mode across a few classic Star Wars games. But Galactic Conquest was a huge step up from Battlefront 1. It hit all the pillars of strategy, having to go from planet to planet, buying upgrades, conserving your credits, using your credits wisely, attacking different planets that were vulnerable at the time, or attacking the enemy fleet if you could in space, take out their enemy fleet, reset their ship to another planet, and then continue your capturing of enemy bases or unlocking units. It's all strategy, and I love strategy, and especially in like a Star Wars game like this, it's relatively neat, and it's not like a full-blown like mind-bending strategy game. You just go, from planet to planet, conserve your credits, make the moves to win the game. Pretty much it. So you're probably asking yourself, what comes after Star Wars Battlefront 2, you ask? Well, Star Wars Battlefront Renegade Squadron, which was only playable on the PSP at the time, and at that time, I had a PSP. Distinctly remember it playing better on my PSP as well, as I played this game on my PC on an emulator from a PSP game with a controller. Yeah, PSP didn't have a right joystick, if you guys can remember. So adding a joystick to a game that doesn't support a right joystick, well, you can kind of imagine how that worked out. Controller mapping. Got it. Okay. Alright. D-pad, that's not what we want. So how are we gonna do this? I have no idea. How are we gonna do this? I can't play this game with one joystick, man. Okay, analog, that is not right. That is not right. It's not working. It's not... What is happening? What is happening? Graphics in Renegade Squadron were a step up from the last two Battlefronts. Customization was a huge step up. I mean, soldier customization, you could change the colors of your outfits and change your head, change your outfit, your insignia, which factions you supported at the time. You could literally change your power-ups, your guns per each class. It was the ultimate customization feature that you've never seen in a Battlefront game before. So, to expand on weapon variety, for this section, you had the option to select 2 weapons. You could go with 2 primary weapons, or 1 if you want to save on credits for your loadout. The menu limited you to 100 credits, where you could customize your character however you wanted, as long as you stayed below 100 credits. For instance, one of the things you could upgrade yourself with the credits in the menu was the ability to give yourself faster base capturing upgrades. And since I was pretty much the MVP of my team of bots and capturing all the bases, I really wanted a high rate of base capturing, so I gave myself that upgrade. I also gave myself the chain gun, which is probably my favorite in this game, which is probably why I didn't really show off any other guns, because I couldn't really do much with any other gun because the chain gun kind of just mowed down everybody. The maps in this game, in my opinion, it's probably because it was on a PSP, but the maps in this game are one-dimensional. They're not really complicated. They're really small, which is probably because it's on a PSP. Believe it or not, this game offered Galactic Conquest mode that I think was an upgrade from Battlefront 2. And I was surprised to find it in there because I completely forgot about Galactic Conquest in Renegade Squadron. You'd start off with a set amount of units and planets in which more objectives you would take, the more credits you would get. The game mode had 4 phases: treasury, purchase, movement, and a reinforcement phase. The purchase phase would allow you to buy 4 different tech tree upgrades, and you could sort of garrison your troops on each planet and move them as you need them. So if I've taken a planet and I need them elsewhere, I'll move them off that planet and reinforce another planet that's closer to the enemy front line. If you happen to get close enough and take over the enemy's home base, then you win the entire game. However, the only other way to win the game is to just basically take over all the sectors. Comparing Renegade Squadron's Galactic Conquest with Battlefront 2's Galactic Conquest, I'd probably pick Renegade Squadron's Galactic Conquest. There's just more to it, more strategy with having to move your troops across planets to the front lines. Overall, this game ranks high on my list. I just wish it came out on console and not PSP. Oh, my eyes, it's so bright. Jesus, this menu's flashbanged me. This game is kind of a bold move in the grouping of Star Wars games, meaning that it did not have a campaign. It had very little single-player game modes. It had really nothing going for it besides multiplayer. And honestly, the only thing I rage about this game is that I can't play DLC maps without going into a private lobby with an extra person. I have to have 2 people in my lobby, including myself, in order to launch a game on the DLC maps. The reason I say that is because this game is practically dead on PC. I tried to find a multiplayer match, and honestly, I sat there for 20 minutes and there was only 1 person that joined. And I needed like 3 or 4 others to even start the match. In my opinion, the DLC maps were better than the original maps. I enjoyed Walker Assault, even though with a full lobby, I feel like it was one-sided all the time. I also enjoyed Supremacy. There were other game modes like Cargo, Droid Run, and Drop Zone. I never really played them, so I'm not going to show them on screen because I didn't think they were worth it. I like the big game modes. You have to play Battlefront on a big map game mode. I think that's how it's meant to be played. This game did not really have classes. It heavily relied on star car upgrades. You make 3 or 4 different classes with any weapon you would like, so you could have a tank busting class with a sniper rifle. I mean, you could change that the next life. You could change into a different weapon. The loadouts are unlimited in this game, with 21 weapons and a bunch of star card upgrades that you could use as your special abilities. The way you played this game was really up to you. The game looked beautiful and still does in 2022. It came out in 2015 and still looks really good. One of the best things about this game was probably survival mode. You have to hold off waves and enemies with your friends. I thought that was honestly the best thing about this game, and still probably is one of the best things about Battlefront. Get some! Oh god.
Oh, there's another one!
Oh my god!
We got
Our pod! No! Battlefront 2 in 2017 by EA and DICE. The more I look at this game and the others, this game has actually come a long way since release. Like, god dang. It doesn't have the bright, flashbangy menu like Battlefront, so it's already a +1 in my books. Way better for my eyeballs, thank you. I like that in Battlefront 2, the weapons only changed per class, but you could also have access to multiple weapons per class, but you could not use the same weapons in other classes. So there was no one super class setup with a meta gun setup, which I'm okay with, actually. The maps are okay. Notably, my favorites were Camino and Kashyyyk, and then Geonosis, always my favorite. Whenever I get to play on Geonosis, it's always a good day. Really enjoy all the co-op game modes, where you could essentially fight off waves, much like in Battlefront's survival mode. If I'm getting destroyed in multiplayer, I could go to co-op and just play that honestly for hours and hours. I had as much fun as I would in multiplayer as I did in co-op. Overall, this is a great game, and it's come a long way since launch. In both Battlefront and this game, I would have liked to see more maneuverability with the spacecraft and aircraft in this game. I feel like in both games, flying starfighters feels very clunky and not fun to me. But that may be because I suck at flying. Overall, looking at all these games, I could probably take away a couple things from each game and put it into a new game, such as Renegade's Galactic Conquest, Battlefront's Survival Mode, and Battlefront 2004's maps. I think Battlefront 2004's maps are some of the best maps I've seen in all these games. And that's pretty much it, guys. I think Battlefront 2 in 2005 and also 2017 are my favorite games. Let me know in the comments which game you think is the best. I think Renegade Squadron could have been the best if it had a console release. And that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.